Well, it looks like the old hero rodeo has called, and maybe they're gonna bring us back some good new friends sooner than we thought. What's going on, everybody? It's GhostRobo, and Marvel Rivals is coming to Gamescom opening night live. They have been hitting up all the shows. They've been hitting up everything they can to keep this game in the forefront of our minds, and now it looks like it's back with even more new reveals, details, and the next set of when we can play the game. But there's more than meets the eye, as you've probably seen this image right here that shows Tuesday, August 20th, ONL, new heroes, and more. But Miller Ross, a very reputable data miner from the Marvel Rivals community, has come in with his takes, and boy oh boy is he talking a big game. So obviously we know that there is going to be new heroes and more, which is probably maps, and the and more seems to be in reference to when you can play the game next. Now, Miller Ross says, I highly doubt this will just be content with no idea when you're going to be able to play next. I wholly expect concrete details, and I would agree. If Jeff Keighley is going to have this up on stage, it's probably going to be something to do with the open beta. The closed beta just finished. It was very successful. People loved it, yada yada. Boom, bring on the open beta so that more and more people, more and more of you, and myself can play it again or play it for the very first time. Now, I would anticipate that this will be a few weeks out from opening night live, so if that's like August 20th, like maybe this is a mid to late September beta, seems like it would be fair to be, 3 to 4 weeks after they kind of discuss and cover it. But what's more interesting to me is that this image here of Black Panther, first of all, it kind of looks like the Hulkbuster Black Panther, not just like a regular Black Panther. He's very metallic, he's very robotic, it's very strange. But Miller Ross's comments on this, very, very unique. He says that based on this image, it's very difficult for him to cover without spoilers because it seems like they'll be revealing the finished version of that cutscene animatic I've been sitting on. If that is indeed the case, you're in for a wild ride. And apparently he has some animatic, which is going to be a cutscene that's not finished. So an animatic is like where they have placeholder assets, placeholder art, placeholder stuff, and it's an unfinished scene. He's been sitting on it, probably because, I don't know, it's not very flattering for the game to show it off, and I don't think he wants to get shut down with unfinished things. It's one thing to show off like, oh, here's the upcoming, here's Venom's moveset, but a bit different when you're showing off like development assets and resources. But he says the animatic that I have features 8 currently unrevealed characters. 8 currently unrevealed characters, which is pretty darn crazy, considering that the last time we got, 4 new characters? We got 2 in the announcement, Venom and Warlock, and then they were like, dude, we're going to bring you Thor and Jeff the Landshark as a fun surprise. 8 unrevealed characters would be crazy and sick. We do have a big list of characters that we know will eventually be in the game. Most recently, we've talked about Psylocke, we've talked about Captain America. We'll have to see who they drop in this version. I wouldn't be surprised if Doom is playable, considering that there's supposed to be like a big Doom story/lore inclusion here for Marvel Rivals. But the question then would be, how many of these characters are actually in the open beta? Because they might just have the, they might use this opening night live opportunity as a big chance to put out a huge new awesome trailer with teases for characters, and then maybe 2 to 4 of them actually hit the beta, which would be pretty darn cool. But they also could just drop all 8. It depends how close they are to launch, and I think it's very interesting that they are releasing and revealing so many characters leading up to launch, because you'd imagine that they'd want to save most of this for the, quote, full launch, where they can start to get, actual money for this thing instead of just good vibes. But I think that they're really actually operating in a very unique and very intelligent way, where they're prioritizing the fun and the favor of the players. They're trying to make this as great of an opportunity and great of an experience as possible for their audience, right? So they're making all these different opportunities to check it out, all these rewards that are exclusive to these different events. They're making tournaments. They're giving us more and more characters. They're dropping new characters mid-beta, and they're not holding back all of their content just to make a penny off of it, which I really appreciate, and I think it's something very, very nifty. So I wouldn't be surprised if the open beta does have a new dump of characters. part of this is, yes, you do want to, you know, have people excited for the full launch, but part of it also is we need to test these characters and the extreme difficulty that is balancing a wide roster with a ton of different moves, a ton of different team-ups on top of that. And so getting more characters into the open beta only makes sense. It's in the best interest of the players, it's fun, it's also in the best interest of the company and the game and NetEase to figure out, you know, okay, how do we balance this? How do we, you know, utilize this example and all of these, all of this data, you know, to make the best game we possibly can. So I'm going to say I think it's another 4 characters for the open beta. I do think Miller Ross is onto something. Based on this image, he says he knows we'll get this Animatic, 8 new characters. I'm guessing 2 of them will be confirmed for the open beta, and then 2 will be teased for later on in the open beta, and then, you know, they still have 4 more for whatever comes next. If I had to guess, I think Psylocke and Captain America make the most sense as the 2 new characters, but maybe they will lean into something a little bit more mainstream than Psylocke. Like Captain America and Doctor Doom could also be a really nifty combination. And I'm very eager to get back into this game. I wish it was just out at this point. I know a lot of you feel the same way. But this is great because this is coming out less than a week from today, and we'll get to know new characters more, which I'm guessing is going to be maps, maybe some additional features, maybe cosmetics, and then fingers crossed, and according to Miller Ross, concrete details on when you can play this thing next, which should be September. I've seen a lot of people talk about they think it's going to launch in 2025. Maybe it will. Early 2025 could be a great slot for it, but boy, oh boy, with how great the game plays and how fantastic it feels, I would love if they would just drop this thing in 2024. Not a lot of competition this holiday season. Outside of Call of Duty, you know, what are the huge multiplayer games that are going to be swallowing everybody's time? There's Super Mario Party Jamboree, that's going to be great, but that's an audience that probably isn't as... Like, the crossover between Mario Party and Marvel Rivals probably is not all that... Like, the Venn diagram is pretty split. I'm sure there's some people that like both. Obviously, I like both. You might like both. But just, like, if we're talking in general, the whole gaming audience. Nonetheless, Marvel Rivals will be back soon. You guys got any super sneaky characters that you want to see? If I'm looking at the list, I think Squirrel Girl would be really fun to be shown off here. Remember, we do have this huge data mine list of all the characters that are coming to the game. It's not very villain heavy. But it does have quite a few heroes that we haven't seen thus far. We're talking about Mr. Fantastic, we're talking about Blade, we're talking about Wolverine, Invisible Woman, The Thing, Iron Fist, Moon Knight, a lot of... Ultron would be freaking sick, Cloak and Dagger, Hawkeye. They could go a lot of directions with this, and I'm guessing you're going to get a good chunk of most of those that I just mentioned to you in this upcoming reveal. So let me know who you want to see. Let me know if you're pumped for it. Let me know if you're ready to play the game again, and if you want more videos of it on the channel. There's going to be. So whether you want them or not, I'm going to be playing more Marvel Rivals. In the meantime, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys are all doing fantastic out there. Drink some hot chocolate, and until next time, we will see you all later.